Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're going to break down the core wisdom from one of Warren Buffett's most iconic lectures. We'll distill it into a simple but really powerful blueprint for success, not just in investing, but in your career and, frankly, in life.
So let's just dive right in with what might be Buffett's most powerful idea. I want you to imagine something. Imagine your entire financial life is governed by a single punch card, and it only has 20 little holes in it. Every single major decision you make, buying a stock, starting a business, whatever it is, uses up one of those punches. And once it's gone forever.
But this idea is so much bigger than just money. This philosophy of intense focus, of making fewer but way better decisions, well, that's the master key to his entire worldview. And we can actually break it all down into 3 core pillars.
Okay, so first up, let's really unpack the rule itself. Why is this super simple idea so incredibly effective? How does it force us to think clearly and just cut through all the noise we face every day? Well, what the punch card does is it forces a choice between 2 totally different mindsets. See, on one side, you've got the disciplined person who thinks long and hard, who makes just a few big decisions about things they really, truly understand. But on the other side, you have the dabbler. You know this person. They get a hot tip at a party, they click a button online because it's easy, and they're always chasing whatever was hot last week. And Buffett is crystal clear on this. You cannot make real money over time by dabbling. It just doesn't work.
So this whole idea naturally leads us to his first pillar, how you should approach investing your money. This is where that punch card mentality really starts to show its power.
At the very heart of his investment discipline is this idea of the Circle of Competence. But here's the crucial insight, the part most people miss. It is not about how large your circle is. You don't have to be an expert on everything. The single most important thing is knowing exactly where the edge of your circle is and having the discipline to stay strictly inside it.
And this comparison just makes it all click, right? Think about something like Wrigley's chewing gum. Buffett's argument is that the internet isn't going to fundamentally change how people chew gum, so you can pretty reasonably predict what that business will look like in 10 years. Now, contrast that with industries that completely changed the world like cars or airlines. Out of the 2,000 car companies that started, only a tiny handful survived, and even they were often terrible investments. You could see the future was coming, but picking the actual winner? Almost impossible.
It all kind of boils down to this quote Buffett loves from the founder of IBM. Know what you know, and just as important, know what you don't know, and have the discipline to stay where you're smart. That, he says, is the absolute key to the whole game.
All right, let's move on to the second pillar. And this is where things get really personal, because we're applying that same disciplined thinking, not to your money, but to your career, and maybe most importantly, to your character.
So Buffett has this fantastic thought experiment, and I want you to really think about this. Imagine you could pick any one of your classmates, and you get to buy 10% of their earnings for the rest of their life. Who would you choose? And maybe even more interesting, who would you sell short? Who would you bet against?
And the conclusion you'd come to is just fascinating. You probably wouldn't pick the person with the highest IQ or the best grades. You'd pick the one you admire, the person with honesty, generosity, integrity. And you'd bet against the person who's egotistical, who cuts corners. And here's the punchline. Every single one of those good qualities is available to you. You can literally choose to develop them, and you can choose to get rid of the bad ones.
But, and this is a big but, Buffett offers a serious warning here. The time to build these good habits is right now. Because these patterns, both the good and the bad, they just get stronger and stronger over time until eventually they're permanent. They're just who you are. This all ties into who you surround yourself with. When it comes to hiring people, Buffett says he looks for 3 things: intelligence, energy, and integrity. But he's totally adamant about this. If they don't have the last one, integrity, the first 2 will absolutely kill you. A smart, energetic person without a moral compass, that's a walking disaster.
Okay, on to our third and final pillar. And this one's all about facing a simple reality. You are gonna make mistakes. Some of your 20 punches are gonna be wrong. The most important thing is what you actually learn from them.
Buffett is super open about his own screw-ups. Early in his career, he was all about what he calls the cigar butt approach. He looked for a soggy, disgusting-looking cigar butt on the street that had 1 free puff left in it. It's cheap, right? You get your 1 puff and you throw it away. But he learned a hard lesson. You might make a little money that way, but time is always, always the enemy of a lousy business. And that painful lesson led to his new guiding principle, his new mantra. He completely shifted his focus away from just buying cheap things to buying high-quality businesses, because he realized that time is the friend of a wonderful business.
But here's where it gets really insightful. He says there are two kinds of mistakes. First, you've got mistakes of commission, that's doing the wrong thing, like buying a failing airline. Yeah, they show up on your balance sheet and they sting. But the biggest mistakes, the ones that really cost you, are the mistakes of omission, failing to do the right thing when you had the chance.
And you can just hear it in his voice when he talks about this. These are the ones that really haunt him. Not the mistakes where he didn't understand a business. It's the opportunities that were squarely within his circle of competence, the ones he understood perfectly, but he just sat there and did nothing. He says those are the ones that cost him billions.
So after all this, the punch card, the circle of competence, learning from your mistakes, it all comes together. It brings us full circle to the final and most important takeaway from his entire philosophy, the one asset that makes everything else work.
Buffett points out this strange paradox. If you look at the 20th century, the U.S. economy just kind of chugged along, steadily growing decade after decade. But the stock market? Oh, it was a total roller coaster. Huge booms, followed by long periods where it went nowhere. So why the disconnect? Well, it's simple. People. Investors are human, and they get swept up by the emotions of the crowd.
And that, right there, is the final, crucial piece of the puzzle. After all the analysis and all the thinking, the most valuable asset you can possibly have isn't a high IQ. It's temperament. It's the ability to stay objective, to think for yourself, and to mentally detach from the fear and greed that's swirling all around you.
And boom, we're right back where we started, with that 20 punch card. Because if you really felt that limitation, it would force you to act with discipline, with integrity, and with the right temperament. So it leaves us with one last big question for you to chew on. What's your next punch gonna be?